Dr. Carroll is a licensed clinical nutritionist who's maintained a private practice for over 30 years. Her articles on health and nutrition have been featured in Glamour, Allure, New York Magazine, Long Island Entertainment and Lifestyle, USA Today, New Beauty, Women's Day, Teen Vogue, Shape, and Us Magazine. She's appeared on ABC's Nightline, ABC's Eyewitness News, Geraldo at Large, the Home Shopping Network, and has been heard on numerous radio talk shows. She's been interviewed for articles appearing in the Washington Post and the Natural Health magazine. Dr. Carroll served as the chief clinical nutritionist for Zone Chefs, an organization dedicated to helping people reach their weight loss goals. As a member of numerous professional organizations, including those dedicated to the difficult challenge of weight loss, Dr. Carroll has dedicated her professional career to helping people achieve higher levels of health. So without further delay, let's bring on Mr. Stan Haley, President and CEO of Natural Longevity, and our very special guest, Dr. Carroll.
Good evening, Richard, and good evening to everybody that's taken the time to join us on the call. We hope you find it interesting, informative, and beneficial tonight. Dr. Carroll, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good evening.
Well, welcome you to the call, too. It's a very good idea to welcome you to the call because I believe you've got some very exciting information for us tonight.
Yes, I do. It actually doesn't get more exciting than this. We have been working on our incredible weight management product, and we are, as always, because Natural Longevity is an incredible company, always wants to bring our members the best of the best, and we will be shortly adding to our Adaptogene product something called CLA, conjugated linoleic acid. And I just thought today that I would talk a little bit about what is coming to our wonderful product. So I think I'll just let everybody know about a lot of science tonight and how exciting this all is because, you know, around 30 years ago, and that's just about the time that I started as a practitioner, what science brought us was the fact that fat makes us fat. And it became the mantra of actually the whole philosophy of weight management. And it was fat makes you fat, a moment on the lips, forever on the hips. And people really, including the food manufacturers, what they did was they started taking fat out of all of our food supply. And you would go to the grocery store and walk up down the aisles, and everything on the labels would say fat-free this and fat-free that. And what really ended up happening was they had to get flavor into food, and so what they did was they took out the fat and they replaced it with high glycemic, high sugared, high carbohydrate ingredients. And what's happened in the last 30 years is that we have become the fattest nation in the world, and we are overweight and obese, and 3 out of 4 Americans are either overweight or obese. And I've spent a lot of time over the last year talking to our natural longevity field, really trying to explain how important that is to the diet. Now, of course, bad fats are bad, you know, hydrogenated oils, and they impact our health very poorly, but good fats are really necessary for health. And what fats do is they slow down digestion, and they add flavor and texture to food, and they give us a sense of satiety, and they stop us from craving more food. So good fats are really, really important to health. And so this evening, as I said, I thought I would talk about something called CLA, which is conjugated linoleic acid. And it's a fatty acid, and what the scientists have found is that it actually contributes to weight loss. So the history of CLA, as it's known, was discovered by researchers who were actually, it was discovered by accident because they were doing studies looking for mutagens in beef. And this was back in 1979, and they were researchers from the University of Wisconsin. And what happened was they applied this beef extract to mice skin, and the mice were then exposed to a very strong carcinogen. And when the researchers counted the number of tumors developed by the mice about 16 weeks later, what they found, to their great surprise, was that the mice that were exposed to this beef extract had 20% fewer tumors. Now, that's significant in science. So it took another 10 years or so for the identity of this particular ingredient to be identified, and that's what CLA is. And what they found by so now they were studying it because it had, these wonderful properties about it. And what they found was that not only was it effective in terms of the studies that they were doing in terms of anti-cancer, but what they found was that it had some very significant weight management properties, and that included reducing body fat and increasing lean muscle mass. And there were over 30 clinical studies that have been published investigating the effect of CLA on weight management. So significant amounts of studies, and what they found was that CLA not only reduces body fat, but it also increases muscle strength and exercise endurance. And CLA is related to the omega-6 fatty acid family, and it's one of the essential fatty acids that helps the body to increase metabolic rate and to boost the immune system and to keep cholesterol levels in check. And CLA is found in dairy and animal fats such as beef and lamb and whole milk and eggs. The body really doesn't produce it. We have to get it from food. So what ended up happening was they found that the CLA reduced body fat and preserved muscle tissue in overweight and obese people who did not change their diet. So this discovery set off a slew of studies, and all these studies examined different variables and came up with varying conclusions. The one consistent finding was that CLA helps people lose body fat, and among the research most cited is a Norwegian study that was published in the Journal of Nutrition in 2000, and it found that CLA reduced body fat and preserved muscle tissue in overweight or obese people who did not change their diet. And according to the research, individuals in the CLA group lost 6 more pounds of body fat on average compared to those in the placebo group. And there was another study in the Journal of Internal Medicine that said that CLA reduced body fat in healthy exercising humans with normal body weight. So the research in the International Journal of Obesity showed that CLA reduced abdominal fat in the obese, and the studies just go on and on and on. And what they know now is that what CLA does is it keeps the fat cells from getting bigger, and this can alter the body's fat to muscle ratio. And in one study, what they found was that those who stopped dieting and did not take CLA eventually put weight back on in the typical manner, but it was about 75% fat to 25% muscle, whereas participants who stopped dieting but kept taking CLA also gained weight, but at a 50-50 fat to muscle ratio. So that's really significant. Now, 200 published research and clinical studies worldwide on CLA show that it has lots of health benefits, and CLA has been linked to an improved immune system, a decrease in cardiovascular disease, and type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, allergies, cancer, as we mentioned before, and even asthma. So, as with everything that has to do with food in our modern world, our food sources have changed, but our genetics haven't. So, here's what's really going on. The main dietary sources of CLA, as I mentioned before, are cows and goats and sheep. And what happens is that grass-fed cows, which really is very hard to come by in our modern society, their CLA content is 300 to 500% higher in beef and dairy than from cows that are grain-fed. And the majority of meat that we eat today as a society is grain-fed. And that's what the problem is. So our contemporary American society is one that, in terms of how we eat, is very different from previous generations. And I've talked about this, many, many times, even with other topics, that we just are not living the lives as our ancestors did. And contemporary Americans are generally deficient in consumption of CLA, which is mostly due to the changes that have occurred in how the industry feeds cattle. The way we manage our animals today is so different from years gone by. Even in our grandparents' time, animals just roamed the earth and they ate, from the earth, and we are not what we eat. We are what we eat eats. And so the animals would get a lot of CLA, and then when we sit down to have a steak or, whatever, we would get the CLA. And today we just don't. And so the bottom line on it is that we are deficient, and that's what adds to the obesity problem. For optimal CLA production, cows need to graze on grass rather than be artificially fattened in feedlots, and studies and research findings have shown that the meat from grass-fed cows, as I said, contains up to 4 times as much CLA as the non-grass-fed counterparts. And today's dairy products have only about 1/3 of the CLA content they used to, even as far back as 1960. So there's a big difference in how we eat today, and we are paying the price for that, because it just does add to the obesity problem. So studies of the University of Wisconsin indicate that CLA dietary consumption may have dropped as much as 80% in the last 2 decades. And even if you resolve to go down several glasses of whole milk each day, you probably won't be getting enough CLA because of, the changes in the livestock. And that's what our, biggest problems are. So what we know is that CLA helps you to burn fat and to build muscle. It's been found to improve insulin levels in about 2/3 of diabetic patients, and it reduced blood glucose levels and triglyceride levels, and the studies have shown a reduction in blood fat and cholesterol, and the studies just go on and on and on. So basically, what we know is that you've got to get your CLA today really from supplementation, because you need about 4,500 fat calories each day to get the amount of CLA that you need, and we all know that that's not happening. So study after study, the randomized controlled trials, which are the gold standard of scientific experimentation in humans, really back up everything and everything that I've said. And CLA actually works in a number of different ways. It decreases the number and size of fat cells, and that helps lower body fat mass. It actually decreases the activity of certain enzymes that store fat in fat cells. It increases what's called apoptosis, which is really how fat cells disintegrate, and it increases the activity of certain enzymes that help burn fat faster. So it works in a number of different ways, and it makes a difference between the body fat and lean muscle mass. So we are adding this to our wonderful adaptogens, and what I can tell you is that along with our other breakthrough ingredients, we really have something here that's going to make a difference in terms of health and managing fat loss, and just maintaining healthy blood sugar levels is critical for energy and mood and cardiovascular and nervous system and immune health. And with our other ingredients and adaptogens, along with adding our CLA, we are really going to be able to help people and give everyone something that is phenomenal. And with that, Stan, I'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Dr. Carol. That was wonderful. And the CLA is going to be a perfect fit for the ingredients that we're already using, because one of the things I want to stress is this: we are not interested in going the stimulant route or weight loss. There's just many products out there that have got versions of Hoemi, ephedra, all of the stimulants, and yes, they work up to a point, but they also have the potential to damage the body. We are going to keep adaptogens at a totally non-stimulant product, which works for weight management, but it also enhances the body rather than damages the body. So is that a fair comment?
Absolutely. And, Stan, I'm proud to say that we have, discussed this, and I'm happy to say that we both feel very strongly about the non-stimulant route. And, you're talking to someone who has spent her life trying to help people get into higher levels of health, and I just will not be a part of something that can harm someone in any shape, manner, or form. And other companies out there, they'll do it, they'll get the quick fix, and then the long-term effects are that they really can harm people. So kudos to you for not going down that road, and being able to present to our field something that not only is healthy, but something that we could be proud of.
Yeah, I was laughing the other day. Like I said, I was a little disgusted. I was looking at the supplemental facts panel of a weight loss product out there, and the number one ingredient was 475 milligrams of caffeine. Followed by, is it bitter orange?
Yes, bitter orange. Yeah, a lot of weight management products, bitter orange, and it's a stimulant, and gets the nervous system going, and it gets people hyper, and whatever, and it's just not the route we should be going down.
Well, we get into the problem with this, and for everybody on the call, I'll give you one little bit of information about CLA that presented a problem to us. It's not compressible. You can't put it in a tablet. Actually, if you go to any product manufacturer and tell them you want to do a tablet with CLA in it, they'll tell you to go somewhere else because it gums up the tableting machines very, very dramatically. So, to solve this problem, we're going to change the packaging of the adaptogens slightly. We're going to a slightly larger pouch, and that pouch will still contain the tablets. However, inside that pouch is going to be another pouch which will actually contain the CLA. So your dosage is going to be tablets and capsules, but it'll all be explained fully, obviously on the website, on the supplemental facts panel, and everything else. So everybody's just going to get in the habit of taking both tablets and capsules a day. That is the only way to do it, because conversely, we couldn't go the other way and put the ingredients we're currently using in capsules, because we would have way too many capsules. So does that make sense?
Yep.
Now I've got one other little bit of housekeeping tonight for everybody. As most of you are aware, we're changing or modifying or enhancing, use whatever term you like, the auto ship options, where we had, if you purchase 3 adaptogens and 2 adaptogens, you then received a third bottle of adaptogens totally free, and that was a very, very popular option within the system. So we're currently doing the coding to expand that, and the way it's going to work is this: you will be able to order 3 of any product plus 2 of any product, and it can be the same product, and receive a third bottle of that product totally free. So for example, you'll be able to order 3 bottles of Allergic, 2 Aster complexes, and get a third Aster complex free. Or you can order 3 bottles of adaptogens and 2 bottles of adaptogens and get a third bottle of adaptogens free. So it's basically any combination of the 3-2 combination of the products. So Jackie, if you're unmuted, did I explain that well enough?
Yes, you just want to also cover the product mix and let them know too that you can order 2 product mixes and get a third product mix free too.
Yep. Now the product mix, yes, you can do that. The product mix will actually count as one item, even though there's 3 bottles in the product mix. So if, for example, you're ordering 2 product mixes, you will get a total of 6 bottles in that, but you will then also get 3 more bottles totally free. So it can be any combination of the products in a 3-2 combination. And we hope to have the coding for that finished within the next 2 days. And as soon as we do, it's initially going up on the change auto ship page in the back office, and then it will eventually go up as part of the joining options as well. But that'll be a couple of days behind it. So Jackie, what did you think of Dr. Carroll's information on the CLA?
Well, I'm excited just like she is about it. I've been studying it for quite a while, sent you some links to it in the very beginning when we started talking about this, and then I actually went down and got on it. So I'm really excited about my results, because when you read what happens, it's changing the way, the composition of our body. So you really might not even pay attention to the pounds. It's going to be more trading fat cells in for body mass and muscle for a lot of people. And I have seen some weight loss. I've gain about 5 pounds off in 2 weeks. My first week, I only did the CLA. During week 2, I added our old Adapta Thins in with the CLA. So I've been doing that for week 2. I lost 4 pounds, a little over 4 pounds in the first week. I lost another pound during week 2, so a total of 5 pounds. But here was the interesting thing. I've lost almost an inch and a half in that waist hip area between those 2 measurements alone. I went and put on a pair of jeans today that 2 weeks ago, if I put them on, I had a significant, as they call it, muffin top, which I do not like. You know, my daughter got me in the habit of wearing the lower cut jeans like everybody does now, you know, so they're not the grandma jeans. Well, when you put those on, if they're tight, you end up with a muffin top. Well, the muffin top's gone. Today I put them on, there's no muffin top. So that's saying a lot in 2 weeks. So I'm really excited about the fact that they're working so quickly for me. In fact, I've kind of hinted to 2 or 3 other people, and they're trying it as well. So by next week, I'll have some results on them as well, because we really want to see what this is going to do with some of the people that are already taking the Adaptogens. And we know we're changing it a little bit, but I honestly think whatever we do with this is going to go hand in hand with the adaptogens that we have in the Adaptogen formula, you know, as well as this combination that we're using. So anyway, I'm excited. I really am. I think this is going to be a big plus. And just the fact that it works on so many other conditions. I do a lot of work in health coach with the diabetes, with asthma, with cholesterol, and getting triglycerides down with people. And then you look at the benefits, which we know I've got a passion in the cancer area with the prevention side of what it can do with cancer. And I'm really excited about having this as another nutrient that we have in our formula that's going to help a lot of people. You know, that's the one thing we've always thrived on is the fact that we've got some of the best testimonies because we've got the best products available out there. So I love the fact that, you know, the therapeutic amount in the products is going to make a huge difference for a lot more people. We're going to keep seeing, you know, great testimonies coming out and great health benefits, you know, to those of us that are just trying to stay on the wellness path.
Well, Jackie, the other bit of good news I'll give you, and it is very important, is this. You can buy CLA at Walmart. You know, inexpensively. And you can buy it all over the place. And there are many, many, many different grades of CLA. The stuff you'll find in Walmart and you know, Costco or whatever for around, you know, $15 a bottle comes in from China. The really, really good stuff is produced here in the States, and it is significantly more expensive than the Chinese stuff. Yeah, and to put the Chinese stuff in a perspective, I actually had a look at some of the supply websites, and when you can buy something for 1 penny per capsule, it ain't really exactly what you want. It's labeled CLA, but the actual CLA content is extremely low. So without boring anybody with the technical details, let's just say that we're using an American manufactured CLA.
Well, it's so good to have you around. Make sure we're getting the exact what we need in the milligrams we need in with every dose we're taking.
Yep, and we're going to pay more for it, but it's going to work, and that's the point. There is no point in selling junk that doesn't work. And Dr. Carol, you can chime in on that one if you like. You're still unmuted.
Thank you, Stan. Yes, from day one, when I joined Natural Longevity, I think the first conversation I had with you was, okay, where do the products come from? And everything we do comes from what's called GMP, good manufacturing practices, and the manufacturers that we use actually check and recheck and double check that everything we use is pure and potent and proper, and that also is very, very important to me. The one thing that kind of, you know, upsets me about my profession is the fact that we are basically unregulated, And so, people say to me, well, Dr. Carol, why are you recommending this instead of that? I can go to, so-and-so, and I can get this for 50 cents a bottle, and, you're talking to me about something that costs significantly more. Well, the reason for that is that you really don't want to take in something that either doesn't have the right potency. There are so many products that when you take them and you test them, you find out, they say, oh, it's supposed to have 500 milligrams of whatever, and they find out that, it's got 2 milligrams, and they just do not live up to label claims. And that's not what natural longevity is all about. We deal with products that are live up to label claims and go beyond. We are concerned about purity. We are concerned about making sure that the product is efficacious and yet something that will work and make a difference in the lives and the health of the people who are taking it. So, yeah, that was something else that we discussed very strongly, that the CLA has to come from the right source, and it will not be coming from China.
You got that right. Anyway, thank you for the input.
Yeah.
Jackie, before we do anything else, Mike Thompson's got his hand up with a question, so I'm going to unmute Mike. Mike, you're now unmuted. What would you like to know, my friend?
Okay, about 6 weeks ago or so, you mentioned something about sample packs being sent out, like the adaptogens packs being mailed from the corporate to whoever we designated. How is that coming along?
That is progressing. We will have some good news for you on that front next month. We finally sorted out what the postage is, the packaging is, and everything is, and actually I'm going to put an update out about that next week, but we are definitely going to do it.
Okay, so roughly July then, huh?
Yep. Yeah, we may get it plugged in towards the end of this month, but more likely it'll be first week of July.
Okay.
We'll have samples drop shipped to any of your contacts.
Okay, that's good. On that extra bottle thing, it seems very advantageous. I'm thinking along the lines of I have a auto ship of 3 adaptogens, and if I added 2 thins, then I'd get a third free. Is that the way you see it?
Correct. Yep. Or you can add a third whatever you like, or a second whatever you like product, and get the third bottle of that free. And the other thing you can use this for, if you really want to, is once every 3 months you can go in and change whatever your second bottle option is, and that way you get a stockpile of all the products.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. And thanks for the questions. See you later, mate.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Jackie, back to you. Have you got anything else we need to cover?
Not that I know of. I think we've covered it all. We've got Barry's call on tomorrow. So anybody that's wanting to learn more about the business side, please jump on the Barry's call. Other than that, we got a Thursday Q&A going on Thursday morning for anybody that has any questions. 12 o'clock noon Central Time. So if you'll get out your call, remember your call schedule. All those calls are available on there. And also we're going to have a couple of new calls coming up over the next couple of weeks that we're going to have people come on to. But we'll be announcing that next week on our next Tuesday corporate call.
That'll work. And tomorrow I'll get an update out with a recording of tonight's call. I'll also publicise Barry's call tomorrow night and the Thursday Q&A call as well. Something else to keep in mind about these calls, we are going to keep them under the 45-minute mark as from tonight. And tonight we've been on so far for 35 minutes. And the other point is the calls will be starting at exactly the starting time. We are not going to keep people holding on the line for 5 minutes or so waiting for all the stragglers to come in. So as from now, the corporate calls will start at exactly 7:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. So please try and get here a couple of minutes early, because if you miss the first 5 minutes, you miss the first 5 minutes. And that's fine. Richard, have you got anything to add before we wind it up?
Sounds like we're good to go. See everybody on tomorrow night's call.
We are most definitely good to go. So for everybody that's been here tonight, thank you very much for your attendance. Dr. Carroll, thank you for your input once again. You have done your normal phenomenal job, and we're all getting very excited about the CLA. We are looking at probably about 3 weeks to get all this into system, into production, and out to everybody else. And until we have got confirmation that we've got the new product actually on the way to us, it's not available for order on the website at the present moment. So for anybody that runs out of adapter things in the next couple of weeks, sorry, but there's nothing we can do about it. But we're going to have an awful lot of fun. And with that, I will wind the call up, stop the recording.
Conference recording stopped. Line unmuted.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Good night.
Hey!
No.
Paul!
Yeah.